Welcome, gender-conscious friends. I'm your host, Faight Zay. My pronouns are they, he, she, and I'm so glad the simulation brought you here today. This is our lives, gender included, where I and another gender-conscious friend talk about things found in everyday life and how gender, if at all, affects those topics. This episode's topic is self-care, which is aptly timed with the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Please remember to take care of yourselves during this crazy time. No matter what you're doing, whether it's protesting or just trying not to explode, please remember to take care of yourself. And before I intro our guest, I gotta get the important stuff out of the way. First of all, thank you listeners and everyone who helped me make this podcast possible. And if you could please rate and review this podcast if the platform you're listening on supports it, it would be super appreciated and super helpful. Also, if you are into the social media thing, links for all of my socials will be on my website, lyricallyfaight.wixsite.com/faitzay. All the social links are at the bottom of the first page. So my TikTok, which I use a lot, my Insta, which I use sometimes, my YouTube, which I'm trying to get into using more, my Twitter, which I basically never use, but if you want to follow me there, along with the link to this podcast and where you can follow it on other different podcast platforms, a wish list if you would like to give me a present, and Patreon, where you can support me financially in exchange for different benefits. And with that, on to the episode.
Hello.
Hello. This is our gender-conscious friend, Reid, and also technically my TikTok big brother.
That works.
Hello.
Hello.
So to start off, we're just going to have you tell us about your gender journey, basically how you got to where you're at right now.
Okay. Well, hi, I'm Reid, like you said, and when I was, I don't remember what age. I feel like it didn't really start at a certain age, because a lot of trans people will talk about how they knew they were different from when they were young and they had words for it. Mm-hmm. I didn't really have the language for it growing up. I've never been taught about transgender people. I haven't, learned about it. Like, I kind of grew up in different churches, mm-hmm. and it was never really a thing. I do have memories though, of me being a child and, kind of doing a typical egg moment thing, You're I was younger than 7, I would think. I don't know the age, and I was getting my hair cut. And I remember I was describing what I would now call my hair, I was like, this short. And my mom looked at me and she didn't mean any harm, but she's like, that's the boy's haircut. You don't want that. So I remember that. I remember I just didn't like clothes for some reason. We had this home video of me and my sister, and I was not wearing a shirt.
Great. That's great.
And I was totally fine. We were playing pretend, and I was not wearing a shirt. And we kind of affectionately dubbed it the shirtless queen video. Of course, I'm not a queen, but it was funny. It was so funny. And then, there were other things like me not liking the female underwear, the women's underwear. I didn't like it. So there were just things like that. And then when I go through my photos from the year before I came out, I kind of slowly seeing myself look more not that queer has a look, but I look more and more definitely not a woman.
Yeah.
I cut my hair short for a while, and I've always wanted short hair. So there was a stage, and they didn't really know how to cut my hair very well. So the first person who cut it short, mm-hmm. It kind of looked I hate to say this, it looked like the stereotype of a Karen haircut. It was not a good look. It was, and I feel bad for people actually named Karen who are good people, but I looked really bad, and the bangs were too long and everything. And then my photos, I just look different, and I never really, after I figured out that I wasn't cis, I kind of realized I don't think I was ever really felt like a girl. Mm-hmm. I just didn't really realize it or had anything to compare it to.
Yeah.
So in January, And I think it was, in January of like 2021, I'm pretty sure I was like, I think that I'm not a woman. And I was like really, really scared to come out, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know anything. I had trans friends, and, I had people who kind of like helped me a little bit. And I thought I was non-binary for a while. So I used they, them pronouns. And, that was cool. But then it got to a point where like, I felt like I was settling. Like, this isn't really like making me the most happy.
Like limiting yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember after I found out, like I told my friends first, and I didn't even tell my parents. I was terrified because I kind of like grew up around like performative femininity, like I did pageants. I just didn't look comfortable. Looking in pictures, I looked miserable. I thought I was happy. It's like, this is so awkward. Get them out of this dress. It was awful. I mean, I loved to experience like the friends and stuff, but like I definitely didn't look comfortable. So I did like pageants. I did like dance recitals and competitions. So like I had like my makeup, like I often got my hair done. So like it was kind of like a surprise, I guess. It would have been like a surprise to my family. So I'm really scared. Like I didn't know how they would take it or anything like that. So I remember like just being there was like a week or so, like it was absolutely killing me. And I remember I was out with my dad and I didn't tell him that whole time. And it was just like eating me alive. And so finally I'm like, listen, we have to have a conversation. And I was so scared. And then I told them, and let me just as a disclaimer say that they're very supportive. They've always been supportive. They're really good. But they were confused and they didn't really know about it. And it took a long time for them to kind of adjust and get used to it. So that's like my long-winded story. I guess.
No, it's totally perfect. So the topic for this episode is self-care. So what would you define self-care as?
Well, I think there's a lot of different things that go into self-care. When people think of self-care, like they usually think of like, taking a bath or like, lighting candles and meditating and stuff. And yeah, those are good. I also feel like, part of self-care is like setting boundaries with people. I feel like part of self-care is making sure you have like time to do things that you like to do. I feel like self-care, is basically in the name, right? Is taking care of yourself so that like you can function at your best. But I feel like it's more than just like eating healthy or like, having good hygiene. I think it's also just like what's the word? Like improving your own life, I guess, like enhancing it, things that matter to you. If you're spiritual, like make sure that you have like spiritual well-being, stuff like that, like nurturing your soul as well as your body.
Yeah. I have never really thought about self-care before. I mean, I do the stereotypical, like, I'm going to take a bath tonight. Like, that'll be my self-care. But, like, I've never really thought about my own self-care. And, like, until, like, the pandemic happened and I had, like, so much free time, I was just like, what do I like to do?
I feel like there were a lot of cracks in my egg during the pandemic because I just had so much time to myself. Like, it's like, well, nice to meet you. Like, I got to know myself more because I had like so much free time.
Yeah. And like during the beginning of the pandemic, I started like playing around with makeup. And like when I was playing around with makeup, I'd be like, oh, for some reason I'm not doing makeup where I look like a normal person. I'm like adding blue dots to my face and like giving myself weird purple scars and like it just wasn't normal makeup.
Oh, like normal makeup is boring compared to that. That's like dope.
Yeah, and it's like I had just been putting on normal makeup up until that point to just like go out and like look normal. So like when I was just like doing my makeup just for me to just hang out, it was like, this is crazy. Is this self-care? And I was like, this is great.
Did you like have a period of time where like you started wearing your makeup a different way and you were not very good applying it because it was a new type of makeup? So you had like this weird period of like not having skills? Because that kind of happened to me.
Yeah, no. The first makeup that I ever wore out of the house ever to school was bright blue eyeliner, like a pencil blue eyeliner just right here on the lid every single day.
That's dope. That's dope. See,
it was not done well at all. It was not dope.
Well, at least the concept, awesome. I like the idea. Maybe the execution.
The idea was great.
Yeah, good idea. Because like a lot of times my makeup was done for me for events. But I did learn from watching, but I did do my makeup for some events. So like I was pretty like decent at femme, quote unquote, makeup. And so when I wanted to try to do like masculine makeup, I should have done research beforehand. It was awful. Like I looked like I had like got some coffee grounds and splashed it on my face. I looked very dirty. Like my whole face is like, I didn't know how to like do contouring. I was just like painting my face. Like, what the heck is this? And my eyebrows were like super thick and bushy. And I'm like, what man looks like this? What man wants to look like this? It was awful. I did learn, and now I'm pretty good at it. Like now, like a makeup artist saw my, faux beard that I did, and he thought it was real. So nice. that was cool, but like it took a long time to get there.
Yeah. When I started to try to do mask makeup, the problem that I was having was that I was only seeing like white and like lighter people do it. So I'm like looking and I'm like, they're doing this weird thing with like their lips. And I'm like, do I have to do that? Like black guys have lips. So they're like, they make their lips smaller. And I'm like, I don't have to do that. Wait a second.
Yeah. I use like foundation or I don't know, like concealer foundation. I don't really know the technical names because like that's how much of an expert I am, right? I would kind of like paint it over my lips and they wouldn't be as pink. But there was like a because it would look like I had stuff on my lips, like I just ate a glazed donut or something. Like one of those donut holes. I'm like, my lips look chapped. Like this looks like a problem. So
yeah.
So, back to the topic of self-care, I feel like practicing and making time for practicing it with self-care. So,
yeah.
And I feel like what is also self-care is not looking back in like great detail at the photos that you're ashamed of.
Yeah.
Like not reading the comments is self-care.
Yeah.
Not at the old photos is self-care.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like also sometimes I do like looking at old photos just for comparison. But sometimes I'm like, nah, that's dead. Like that's gone.
Yeah, like certain photos. Some photos where you can reminisce and be like, oh, they were so cute. But not the ones where you're like, they look really sad.
Yeah, I know. I have a question for you. So do you have like, is there any photo of you that comes to mind that like looks like, obviously you weren't living as yourself, but it looks kind of like validating because you're kind of like, for example, there's a photo of me like as a kid, and obviously I knew nothing about this, but like I'm posing next to a bear statue. So like when I look at it, or like there's this photo of me like wearing like a boy, like, not clothes aren't gendered, but like a shirt that was advertised as a boy's shirt.
I have this right here. It is a picture of me at maybe 2, maybe 3. And I'm in like a jumpsuit romper thing, but it's just all white. And my hair looks like just a little afro. And I'm just smiling right next to my dad. And it looks like a little son with his dad. And I love it. And it's in the first page of like my like photo album that I got for Christmas from my boyfriend. It is my favorite picture of me. All the other ones, I'm like, I've got long braids and like I'm wearing pink and yellow and flowers.
Yeah.
But like in that one, I just look like a little dude.
And it makes you feel happy when you see that, like you're like, I didn't make this up. It was always a thing. Something cool that I did is like, I like making memes. So like I would take like a random photo of myself, or like if there's a video or a photo that was taken of me that isn't like a posed photo, like pretty candid, I will add a caption to it and make a meme to send my friends. And one of them was me at a dance studio. This was like before I came out, but I had short hair, and no one looks very attractive at dance class. Okay. Everyone is winning. No one looks like a 10. Okay. Don't let them lie to you. And, we were practicing a dance, and I had someone film it because I liked footage of me dancing. And the kids were like kind of noisy and they didn't want to quiet down. And so like you could see in the video, I was like closing my eyes, like looking annoyed and stuff. So there's this one screenshot that I have of myself that's looking totally ticked off. You know, I love those people. I was just like, you know, can we like wrap this up and like get started? And so I captioned it like, I edited like a picture like of a mug by my face, like I'm drinking tea. But the reason I'm telling you about that is because like I look at that photo and I look super masculine. Like obviously I look like a mess because I'm at dance class, but like my facial structure, like you can look like you can't really tell, you know, like I look like a dude in that photo. And I was like, that's perfect because I wasn't trying to. I was probably trying not to, you know. And I just look super masculine.
That's awesome.
Like gender affirmed.
Yeah. Would you say that like your self-care has kind of changed from when you identified as your gender at birth to now?
Yeah, I think so. Like I think now I'm not as comfortable with like the certain like spa type things. And obviously like when I was presenting female, I had like different goals as far as what I looked like. I was in a time in my life where people thought that I was a dude. And I was a dude, they were correct. But I was like, I'm not a dude. Stop calling me a dude.
Yeah.
It's ironic now because now no one genders me correct. It feels like a cool joke. But I remember I was so ashamed of everything like masculine about myself. Like now the things that I love and glad that I came with, like I hated. And so like I would, you know, as self-care, like shave my upper lip or shave my legs or like try not to look like a dude. And now that I know I'm a dude, I'm like, I'm never shaving my legs again.
Exactly. I love my hairy legs so much.
So much, yes. And then I was like, I don't know, like and I feel like I don't have to take super long in the morning to like get ready anymore. I love it. Like I thought that when I was presenting as a woman and I was doing all those things, I thought that I was enjoying them. Like I thought it was self-care, but now I'm like, this is a much better way to take care of myself now. Like this is actually doing something for me. Like self-care doesn't really work if it's not, you know, helping anything. Like if it's not affirming you or doing what you need it to. So, but I thought it was, but it wasn't. So what about you?
I don't know if mine has changed because like I said before, I hadn't really thought about self-care before. I did like the like occasional like take a bath, you know?
Yeah.
But, like now it's kind of just like I just like try to do things that make me happy. And I guess me being happy is being non-binary. So
right.
I guess it is sort of different, but like not really.
I also like I never had to worry about binding before, you know? And so it's like now when I'm binding, it's like, dude, take the binder off. You've been wearing it for 8 hours, take it off. And I never had to have that conversation with me before. So like me transitioning and me like learning this about myself and getting more dysphoria and stuff also, you know, kind of makes me more aware of new ways I have to take care of myself, you know? Like there are certain things where if I do them, like it would harm me now. So I have to like not do that. Like when I do makeup, sometimes I do like want to do femme makeup, but just for like, you know, like in a drag sense, you know? So like, but I can't do anything on my lips, like gloss or lipstick or anything, because it's going to make me really dysphoric. So I don't do that. I used to read a lot of magazines. And now like a lot of like the teen magazines are like, you know, meant for girls. And obviously like I'm a grown man, but I still like magazines. I just have to be careful when I'm reading them because like it kind of puts me in the like thoughts, like headspace where I used to be, you know, and I can't do that anymore. So it's kind of weird that like a lot of the things I did enjoy, you know, isn't giving me joy anymore. But that kind of sad a little bit, like not that I mourn like being an egg, but it's just like kind of sad. Like I could be happy I'm transitioning and still miss some things, you know? But on the flip side of that, there's a lot of joy in being able to enjoy things that I never got to.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm getting a suit. Well, I'm going to rent a suit soon for an event. There will be footage on TikTok. But it's just like, you know, there's some things that I miss and some new things that I like never got to do that now so I feel like it's a trade-off, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like what you're saying about binding, I don't personally bind. I do wear bigger shirts to like cover up the tatas on some days, but like I don't ever wear like ridiculous wired up bras anymore because I don't feel like I have to. And that is amazing. Like I think the only unconscious self-care I really did before I figured out that I was non-binary was taking off that fucking bra. Okay. And
hey, just like
yeah. And like now I just wear sports bras all the time and it's so much more comfortable and I am so much more happy that my tatas are just chilling.
You know what I call sports bras? I call them PPDs. That stands for Pet Protection Device. And sometimes I go like PPD lists. Like I just wear a shirt and I know I have like, you know, a bigger chest, but I'm like, you know, sumo wrestlers have bigger chests. And like, you know, Buddha has man boobs, you know, like, and I still make dysphoric sometimes, but I feel like even though they look bigger when I'm like PPD lists, I feel like the act of putting one on kind of like gives almost as much dysphoria as like looking at my chest being big, if that makes sense. So sometimes I just like wear bigger shirts. So it's either like I wear like just a shirt, or if I'm really feeling bad and I want to be flat for something, I wear a binder. But I'm like, you know, or if, when I go to dance classes, I wear a PPD because you're not supposed to dance in a binder. Self-care. Like I want to dance in a binder, but my body.
Self-care is allowing yourself to breathe.
Yes, I don't want to lose a lung. I was having a photo shoot with a friend at like a park, kind of like near my apartment, but like a long walk. So I had this it wasn't genius, this brilliant idea that I would walk there all the like a 30-minute walk in the binder. It was a one size up from what I normally wear. So I thought I'll be fine.
Oh, no.
It was awful. It was like, you know, self-care would have been like, I don't know. Like, I feel like self-care would have been not wearing the binder, obviously. But then like, I wanted to look like, I don't know, it's confusing because I wanted to look good for the photo. So I thought I was doing something nice for myself, you know? So I feel like it was kind of self-care, but also like it had bad side effects.
Yeah, like not all self-care can be perfect, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like some people get their hair waxed, you know, that definitely has pain consequences.
Yeah, or like when I was younger and like I would get perms, like we were like, this is good for your hair, but it really was not. And we didn't know. And now we do. So
I used to have like really long hair and I really wanted to dye it different colors and I wanted to bleach it, but because my hair is kind of dark, you know, kind of like dirty blonde, kind of like darker, I couldn't do that without bleaching it. Like I did a couple like semi-permanent ones without bleach, but it didn't really give me results that were satisfying. And my mom didn't let me like bleach it because my hair was so good and long and thick, and she was like, you know, I don't want you damaging your hair. So as soon as I cut my hair short, I'm like, haha, yeah, like now's my golden opportunity. So I had like blue bangs, I had like teal bangs, I've had like all sorts of stuff. And then like I realized I really like having like the bangs blonde. So that's cool. So it's just like I got to care for myself in a new way. It wasn't something that I thought that, you know, would come out of it. You know what I mean? So it was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. During the pandemic, I realized I hated taking care of my hair. Like, it might also have been that I was doing it in the feminine way, but I hated like, because I would like put it in the little poof buns or like have it like a poof on top and the rest down all curly. And like, I just hated it so much that I would just put it into ponytails and just leave it. And I would be like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. Like I had to shave my head. I was like, I'm done. I'm done with it.
Did you feel like when you got hair that like is more suited to you, that you kind of like reclaim taking care of it? because I know like I didn't really like having long hair, so I didn't want to brush it. I didn't want to do like, you know, I didn't want to, it was awful. And then when I got hair that I liked, like I took more pride in it. And like I kind of like reclaimed that like I get to take care of it now and enjoy it, you know?
Yeah. Like when I first shaved my head, I basically thought I was going to shave my head forever. I was like, I hate hair. And then I shaved my head like this, but it was like really short and like basically just a little bit on my top of my head. Yeah. And then I had bleached it for the first time. And I was like, ooh, okay. Okay. And then I let it grow to about this. But if you look like back on my TikTok, it looks like this, but like frosted tips instead of like the split. And I was like, okay, I like this. I like this. I like this. And then I was having a really rough time at school. So I shaved my head again. And then I started to grow my hair back out again this past year. And I was like, you know what? I really liked that. But I'm like, let's try a different dye. So I'm doing it like this.
I like it. It looks good.
A quarter of it black and the rest is blonde. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to see how this one works. Hopefully I can keep it because what I want is to like make it long enough to start to lock it, but just the top part. Because I love it when like I've seen like black dudes with like the like locks and like the bun on top. Like that, I love that.
That is cool. Sorry, my cat's biting my hand. She needs to stop that. I have a little kitty, and she's like nibbling on me like I'm a chicken tender.
That's her self-care.
Yeah, that's like I need Reid. I need to bite his hand. I think also like something that I kind of found with my self-care and like my journey is like I feel like sometimes like I have like internalized transphobia or like I wish I was, you know, biologically male or whatever. And then I realized like just like reframing how I think of things helps a lot. And so I thought, you know, cis dudes, I can't really speak for them because I'm not one and I don't know what goes in their head. But I kind of imagine that they're like their puberty or they're becoming like a manhood, like even though, they can enjoy it and they have things that like, it's exciting. And I feel like it's kind of expected, you know, like they know what's coming. So I feel like I get to enjoy me becoming a man and me like having manhood in like a really, you know, like more significant way, I guess, like just like more joyful and more like appreciative, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's kind of beautiful. And like another thing I saw is, you know, like, I don't know if you've seen this going around, like on TikTok or whatever, like the dudes, like the really hairy legs, they had like, they did this thing where they put like gel on their hair and then they got like a brush and they like made, or a comb and they made like little waves and stuff. And like people were making fun of it, saying it's ridiculous. Someone went on YouTube and his wife or spouse, I can't assume gender in this, I'm going to do this to your leg. And he hated it. But I feel like, you know, even though it is silly, when I get enough hair to do that, I'm going to do it just because I'm enjoying the fact that I have enough hair to do it. And I feel like that's really a beautiful thing about being trans. I mean, not necessarily like the wavy leg hair, but just the idea of like, I get to enjoy this and celebrate it, you know, and savor these things and have some fun with it.
Like, it's like an experience that you've been wanting. And like, now it's like a whole new world.
Yeah, right. Because I'm sure there's like things with like the puberty that the guys, like the cis guys, do not want, right? And I mean, I kind of feel the same. Like when I was getting on T, I'm like, can I like check some boxes off? Like I want to sign up for these changes, but not these changes. But I feel like even like, you know, people would tell me I'm not a guy, but I'm like, listen, you can't tell me I'm not a guy. I signed up for butt hair, okay?
I'm prepared.
Yeah, like I made a sacrifice because now, and I was, you know, I was like expecting these changes, but I didn't expect, you know, testosterone to go like full Bob Ross on some parts of my body. But I don't know. Like I feel like I have like more gratitude for even like the more unpleasant parts of puberty because it's something that I didn't think I could go through.
I don't know when I'm going to start T and even how much, if at all, you know?
you'll get
But,
hair
like,
and you can't control it.
yeah. But like, I know I'm going to be so excited. Like, it's going to be like a new experience.
It's gonna be cool. Yeah, I'm excited for you when you have like if you ever do decide to get on it. I mean, like obviously, like you're valid even without it, but I don't know. Like I am almost 7 months on T on this Thursday. Like so, in 2 days, I'm on 7 months.
Wow.
And my voice is like a whole lot deeper. So different. I'm like, who the heck is this? And now it's like I finally got to a place where like I don't sound like that anymore. And I didn't think I would be able to start T. It's exciting, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm starting to get a beard, which is the most exciting thing in the world.
I can see your mustache. It's great.
Yeah, I've always had like a little bit of lip hair, even like way before transitioning. But like being on T like really brought it out and it gets darker all the time. But now I'm getting like hair along like my jawline and like a lot of long fuzz. And it used to be like I can see the fuzz up close, but I couldn't like let it show in photos. Like it wouldn't show up, but I would see like a really like dark shadow. And now it's like I'm making a video for TikTok and I see like these long hairs off my face, but the light is showing like it's visible. It's happening.
Nice.
And like I see it and I'm like so excited, you know, like if that's another thing. When I get a beard, like I'm not saying if, I'm manifesting this, okay? Like when I get a beard, I'm gonna do crazy things with it that people make fun of, okay? I'm gonna do a glitter beard. So I'm gonna look really weird. I'm gonna have like wavy leg hair and glitter beard. Yeah, I don't care who's gonna make fun of me. I'm gonna have holiday cards made.
Oh my God, you can stick little ornaments on your leg hairs with the gel.
Okay, my leg hair probably will never be that long to do that.
No, but I'm saying like it'll be all like gelled out. You could gel it out like a tree and put the little.
Oh my God. And like the top of the tree could be my knees.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think that's fun. So that's going to be self-care, spending an hour doing that to my legs.
Just for Christmas card.
For Christmas card. So my friends, if you're listening to this, expect, in a few years, it's coming. Be prepared.
Some very weird Christmas cards.
Yes. Now I expect you to like get a magnet and put it on your fridge. Mm-hmm. That's the sign of a good friend.
So would you say that there are, in your opinion, any like toxic forms of self-care?
I mean, like wearing the binder to the bar. Like sometimes like I feel like I want to wear a binder so I don't get dysphoric. And I feel like avoiding dysphoria is self-care. Mm-hmm. But also sometimes self-care is making sacrifices that you don't want to make because, like it's better for your body. And I have to find another way to avoid dysphoria, so like I will just be nice to myself or, affirm my own self. And I feel like that's hard, but it's a really beautiful thing to do,
Yeah.
And sometimes I would feel bad about, not doing anything for a day or like having a self-care day, like I'll guilt myself. Or when I'm emotional and I'm not feeling good, I'll like feel guilty. I'm like, why are you upset? You have a lot to be grateful for. Mm-hmm. And then I think to myself, well, the world's kind of on fire right now. Yeah. It would be kind of like concerning if I wasn't upset.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you think about that?
I think it depends on how you're using self-care. Like if you're using self-care to avoid tasks that you should be doing, then it's definitely a little toxic. You're like, sure, I have 7 assignments due, but I should self-care. Like, no, maybe you should do that. That sounds
and
fun.
Maybe like just reframing the perspective. It's like doing this work I don't want to do. That's a sacrifice of like taking a nap or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's going to be self-care because later on I'll have more free time because this stuff is done, I don't have to worry about this. Because I don't know about you, but like when I procrastinated in school, like I had this like overwhelming fear and dread, or like just like overwhelmed. And you feel a lot better when it's done.
Yes. Which is why I always try to like get it done as quickly as I can. Like if it's possible for me, I try to finish it and turn it in as quickly as possible. Because the longer that I have it, I'm like, oh my God.
When I was in school, but I'm pretty smart. And so my mom was bragging on me. She's like, wow, Reid, like you are the type of person who doesn't have to study a lot for this class. he can put it off for this assignment for 2 weeks, and then in one night write a brilliant 5-page paper that gets an A. And I'm like, yeah, I can, but should I? Like, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
So before we say goodbye, I have a couple games for you.
Okay.
The first game is, would you give them a queer happy ending?
Okay, what does that mean?
So you sent in 5 shows that you love to watch, and I picked 2 characters from 2 of the shows, and I'll give you one of them, and you'll tell me whether you'll give them a queer happy ending or not. And if you want to,
like, if I ship them or not?
No, like, not if you ship them. They get their own separate happy ending in their universe.
Oh, so like if I feel like they're canonically queer, and I would give them like, okay. We'll see how this goes.
The first one is Morgana from The Adventures of Merlin.
Okay. I feel like when I was watching that, she gave off like really lesbian vibes. Like, I was like, that's a lesbian. Part of me feels like I want her to have a happy ending with, like, because I want representation, like, for queer people, but also she was the evil person. Like, she was the antagonist. Like, do I really want her to have a happily ever after? So no, but I would rewrite part of the story to where she would have like lesbian scenes and like, she had a thing before she like turned as bad as she did.
Okay. And then Zahid from Atypical.
I don't know. Like, I feel like he's like totally, straight vibes all the way. Like, I don't know, like either he would be gay or I don't know, like he just kind of seems like the frat boy type. And I mean, yes, you can be like a gay frat boy, but I don't know. I feel like he's like too straight for me. Like there was this whole episode where he had like a farewell party for his, balls because, and I just feel like either he really likes, those parts and maybe he would be gay, but I feel like he just really likes his own. He's like, he's like into chicks and stuff. I mean, I do want him to have a happy ending. I don't think he'd be canonically queer though.
Okay.
But he is a good character.
Okay. For our last game, it's do you know an enby with this name?
Okay.
So I'm just going to give you 3 stereotypical enby names.
Okay.
And you would just tell me if you know an enby with this name.
Okay.
Okay. So the first one is Moss.
I haven't known anyone personally with the name Moss. No, I think like I've seen it like typed out in like a TikTok comment, like, "Hey, my name's Moss." So I've heard of it, but I never met anyone personally named Moss. No.
Yeah, me neither. I have seen a few people on TikTok named Moss, but not like personally in my life.
Yeah.
Okay. The second one is Ellis.
No, I don't think so.
No,
I never met anyone with that name. No.
I've seen some people on TikTok with it, but I have not met anybody.
I never heard, like, I never seen that either. So
really,
it's a cool name, but I haven't come across it yet.
Okay, and then the last one is B.
I watched a TikTok video with someone named B, but I never met anyone personally or had any friends with that name. No.
I have mutuals with that name. I don't know if I can count them as friends. I do personally, but I don't know if that makes them feel weird. But I'm like, yes, my friends. But like, they'd probably just be like my mutual, and I'm like, okay, mutuals, fine.
I feel that on a deep level.
But thank you so much for joining me for this episode.
Thank you. It was awesome. Thank you for having me.
Do you have anything you want to promote?
No, I'm not really doing anything right now, but to my parents' disappointment.
Okay. Well, thank you again so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you again to our guest, Reid, for joining me on the topic of self-care. Our Lives, Gender Included is created by Faitze, hosted by Faitze, edited by Faitze, and produced by Faitze. To access my socials, the link in the description will have my website, lyricallyfaight.wixsite.com/Faitze, and you will find the links to all of my socials. And if you click the support page, you can support me financially. via a one-time donation on my PayPal, Cash App, or Venmo. Or you can subscribe to Anchor to just support this podcast, or subscribe to my Patreon at the various tiers I offer for different benefits. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a great rest of your day in the simulation.